Now entering Nerdist.com.
Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. Jackie Cation, Laurie Kilmartin. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show. It's the Jackie and Laurie Show. The Jackie and Laurie Show.
We're back.
We're back. Did you write down where you're going to be this week?
Yes, I'm going to be floating around Los Angeles. But you know what? To look forward to, I'll be in Portland March 24th and 25th. 24th, I'll be at the Curious Theater for one show at 9:30 p.m.
Nice.
Doing a door deal. Please show the fuck up.
Exactly. Bring a date. If you're already dating somebody, both of you bring dates.
And then the Sunday, I'm at Powell's Bookstore reading From Dead People Suck at
awesome,
Powell's.
which you should all have owned.
Yeah,
and if you
bring your
didn't,
copy because
exactly,
you motherfuckers better have bought one.
You know,
already.
I went to Powell's one time, and Aisha Tyler was reading from her book.
Wow,
and it was packed.
Wow, she directed a movie.
I know, I saw that.
You did? Did you see
No,
it?
I didn't see the movie. I saw the trailer. I saw that she directed it.
Yeah.
Set entirely in a car.
Yeah.
On the 405.
That sounds good. There's not that it's at all similar, but that movie, there's a movie called, I think it's called Locke with Tom Hardy, where the entire movie is him trying to solve problems in his life that increasingly get worse and worse as he's driving home.
Oh, okay.
It's really great. I saw it on an airplane. That was a perfect place to see it.
The write-up on this, that is. The write-up on this movie, which, god dang it. Can you look it up, Kyle, what Aisha Tyler's
I think it's called Axis.
Oh, AXIS. Yeah, Axis.
Yeah.
As an Axis and Allies, a board game that Laurie has not played. And I got a pressure headache the one time I played it because it was 6 hours later and we were in 1943. Anyway, so, but Axis, the movie, was supposedly it was someone who had made it in Hollywood. And it was a series of phone calls
right.
just about the different problems of... that you deal with in your car as you talk, if you were very successful, I think.
Oh,
that things aren't
great.
going well, things are going well, things aren't going well, someone's dropped the ball. Let's fix this. It's fixed. Oh, there's a new problem. There's a new opportunity. And it's that's what it sounds like. It sounds kind of fascinating.
Sounds good.
So it's called Axis, and that's neat.
Okay, so I was on your site.
My website.
Yeah. And I was on your calendar page, and I was like, "What? How do you do that? Is that do you use bands in town, or what do you do? How do you hook up
the calendar?
Yeah, all your dates are there.
Yeah,
and it did
Vilmos. I enter it using.
Vilmos does it for you?
No, Vilmos doesn't do it for me. Vilmos has a program that he actually sells. Get this. This is actually a fascinating thing. What the hell is it called? Availsbot. AVAILS.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I saw it on your site. I'm like, this looks like it's just for comics, but that's not possible.
Well, it's just, except for it is, because Vilmos Branwick he's a comic, but he also... And aspiring, not even aspiring.
He's an app developer. If he made this, right?
Yeah, he does my website, and then he is an app developer, and then the only thing I use in Availspot is the calendar. Mm-hmm. There's a place to put. There's a drop-down menu for bookers, and then you put all the booking information, and it will automatically send out your avails. Vilmos is very proud of it.
Yeah. The thing is, do bookers use it?
No, bookers don't have to go to it. It does the emailing for you.
Oh, it does the email. Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
And then you send out essentially every 3 months. You can set it like a calendar.
Yeah.
To send out your avails, and it'll read what your avails are.
Oh.
From the information you've put in. Like I just updated my calendar through May.
Yeah.
And I like how it looks on the phone better than how it looks on the desktop. It's set up as a calendar on the desktop, but on the phone it's just a list, and I like the list better. It just looks nicer. And the only thing that is, and I've talked about this with Vilmos, is that if I have more than one set a night in town, or even if there's 2 shows a night at the club, there's no way to put it.
Oh. That seems like that should be...
Yeah, that's right. That's something I think
because if you want to link to tickets so people can buy tickets, you either want to go to the N or the 8 or the 10:30.
Yeah, you'd need to be able to do that. So, Vilmos, if you're listening, seems unlikely. So,
Well, what about Bands in Town? Do you use that
What
at
is
all?
that?
Oh, it's a different. It's like more music software for
Okay.
musicians, but it seems like some
they
comedians
know
use
things.
it too. I
Those
know.
musicians
They're
know
better at
things.
this shit than
they
we are.
really are. They've been doing it for longer, and there's more of them. They're more of a team.
They also much more have the model of they only make money off merch, you know, and touring. So
We learned from them.
yeah, sorry, I
Yes,
kicked you.
no worries.
You'll be fine.
This is the week when this goes up. I'll be on the cruise, right? I'll be on the Joko Nerd cruise. I come back, and I'm home for I think 4 days, and then I got to go to Vancouver with Maria and Salt Lake City with Maria, and then I'm home
One night each.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, wait, the Salt Lake City might be attached to the Grand Rapids thing because I have jury duty in the middle of all of this.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got jury duty, and I made a note to myself in my calendar not to book anything because if I get on a jury,
How can you turn down booking? I mean, we're comics, man.
well, I already bumped it. I bumped it to this week that I knew I wasn't working. So, if worst case scenario, I would have to change my flight to a red eye on Friday, or go
right.
day of because I think the Grand Rapids gig is on Saturday and the Salt Lake City thing is on Sunday. But I
okay.
can't remember. And then I guess I would come back if it's like a high profile. But I've never been picked for a jury.
I have.
Have you? Have
Yeah.
you done a jury?
Yes.
And convicted or not convicted
Not
a person?
convicted, not guilty.
Not guilty. Mm-hmm. All right.
It was the
OJ?
plan. Well, I'm sorry, the glove didn't fit, Jackie.
Exactly. I was so hoping.
So it was a white guy who said a black kid broke into his car, and there was very little evidence besides the white guy saying he saw the black kid walking on a street. There was no
Wow,
other evidence.
It was almost
So
like an
we're all-
episode of Happy Days.
Yeah, we're all like in the jury room, and this is a long time ago. It's like in the early 90s.
Okay.
And I think the foreman was an older black man, and he just said, he's like, he can walk on a street.
Yeah. He gets to.
And that because I think it was a more white jury, and I
Yeah.
think some people default to, well, something's not up with that if they're, he's walking there.
Why would he lie?
And
Well-
he made a compelling argument that a citizen is allowed to be walking in the country of that where they're a citizen in.
Yes.
And
Just-
so we all went not guilty.
yeah. Yeah. Good.
But it was weird to see because I felt like the white guy's lawyer was pretty confident that he had a good case.
He had a
And
good
looked
case?
really surprised. That was nice.
That must have been very satisfying.
Yeah.
His surprise.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So that's the only time I got picked.
Right. Andy was just on one because there was a drive-by murder in our neighborhood.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Every time we drive by that corner, he's like, "That's where it happened. That's why they put that fence
Wow.
up there." Because it was they called it gang violence, but
Right.
he was like, we got to see too many pictures of dead guy. There was like 2 people were killed, and he was like, I got to see too many dead people, and it was really gross. And it was a full week though.
Wow.
with a full day of deliberation.
Guilty. My mom was on one where the guy, someone robbed a convenience store, not a 7-Eleven, but maybe one attached to a gas station, and made the attendant go on his knees and shot him in the head, shot him to death, murdered him.
Oh, like execution style.
Totally, yeah. And
Oof.
I think they voted, well, definitely guilty, and I think they might have gone death penalty, but I'm not sure what happened after that.
Wow.
It's California, so the
Yeah,
guy's
yeah.
probably still alive.
Right, very possible. Last night, my sister was in town for the weekend because it's Super Bowl. The day we're recording this is Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's in Minneapolis, and my sister lives in Minneapolis. And she's like, let's leave. So she brought her wife and her 2 kids, and they've been staying in Long Beach for the weekend. And
Why Long Beach?
because it's by a beach, and they
Oh,
have an
okay.
aquarium, and, they can...
And the beach seems long.
Yeah, the beach seems super long.
Sure.
And they don't know. Like, I think her mother-in-law picked the place. Her mother-in-law is just going to stay there for like 3 more weeks. because her mother-in-law lives in Chicago.
Oh, maybe
and it's
my mom
February.
would want to stay with her mother-in-law.
Eileen, if you're listening, let's get Mrs. Kilmartin and you guys together.
Yeah. I just was like, it's really depressing to live with someone who just sits in a room, closes the shutters, and watches television all the time.
Yeah, that's terrible. That can't be. You gotta get her.
It is.
That's exactly what's happening, and there's no
It
way to
is.
stop it.
Yeah.
There's no way to stop it. Is there any way your sister can shake her?
What do you mean? No.
I don't know, because you're right there all the time. She's not
Yeah.
going to listen to you. Can you bring in a third party with an intervention? Hey, you're 79. You're not 100.
She's 80.
She just turned 80.
She looks like she's 100.
Yeah, so she's got to get out of the house. She doesn't
won't.
even sit in
She
the
won't.
yard
No. Sometimes she goes on the rocking chair on the porch.
in the front porch.
But
I like your front porch.
Thank you.
It's a very nice. I like a front porch, man. We
All
have
I
a front.
need.
We have a stoop. Sometimes we sit out there and look at the feral cats.
you guys could throw up a porch, man.
We could.
Yeah.
I want to throw up a podcast studio in the backyard. Podcast studio, game room, and when push comes to shove, mother-in-law house.
Yes.
Do you know any contractors? Do you
Yes,
know
I
anybody?
do.
Because there's a tax
I use
deal.
Tony Kameen. You know Tony Kameen?
Yeah.
He gave me a great contractor.
Okay.
He's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, done and done. Let's. Last episode, we're going to register people to vote. Now there's a Tony.
Now you're
Kameen.
going to have a porch.
Now I'm going to have a contractor.
Ursula Le Guin died.
Yeah, she
and,
did.
so I was listening to
Not a career cut tragically short, by the way. She was,
she's in her 80s.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's still devastating because she's a great author.
Yeah. But I was listening to a Terry Gross interview with her, and she was talking about.
Oh, that's neat.
It's a great interview, and she wrote an article that I gotta find. I was just listening to it on the way over, so I haven't read it. But she was talking because she had 3 kids, and she said some women, decide to have kids and they decide to not be creative. They decide to put it in their kids, right?
Okay.
And she said some women decide to be full on creative and not have kids.
Yeah.
And she said, but there seems to be less room for women who do both.
Yes.
Like in terms of recognition. She's just talking about authors, but like when the male institutions, literary institutions, recognize female authors, they are frequently not mothers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh.
I just want to
Right.
read that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And she had 3 kids? Mm-hmm. That's neat.
I mean, it's if you're writing, it's a different way. It's a different lifestyle than stand up, though. Stand up's just it's as we were talking about earlier. It's a hard lifestyle to eat well and and maintain health or get better at health
Because of structure, yeah.
and planning too. In terms of just, I mean, a lot of people don't know where they're going to be. They job wise, or there's insecurity, but usually, with comedy, it's like you're traveling so much, you don't know when you're going to be home.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to plan to do the homey kind of things that you need to do to make yourself feel good.
Yeah. When I worked at my last day job was at this closed captioning company.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it was called a traffic job. It was a admin kind of secretarial catch-all kind
Right.
of. And I answered the phones, I signed things in, I digitized tape and stuff like that, and there was enough downtime
Yeah.
that I could separately there was enough the downtime allowed me to write my solo show.
Yeah.
Because I could actually write at my desk, and I got a lot of writing done. And then the second thing was that every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., I went to an office that had a microwave.
Yeah.
And I ended up eating like lean cuisine thing, TV dinners. And I ended up losing weight because I could structure some of the food intake.
Yeah.
And I don't even own a microwave at my house. Sometimes sometimes the room at the hotel will have a microwave.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm going to travel with TV dinners.
Right.
And the TV dinners that they have in the little, right by the desk, there's always that store.
Yes.
They're always the worst kind.
Yeah.
They're not.
It's always lasagna.
It's always lasagna.
Yeah.
And it's never any.
It's never Amy's.
Right.
It's always
not
like
Amy's.
fucking
I love
Stouffer's.
Amy's, actually. Yeah.
I do too.
They're nice. And I come home and one of the first things I'll say is, I need a vegetable. I need to eat something that is green.
Yeah.
That'd be ideal.
It's weird. Because when you have a kid, all of a sudden you just have to pay for things a lot, right? And so the default, the thing for me that you see when it's like two comics having a kid, whoever makes the most money is the one that starts really going on the road a lot.
Yeah.
And most of the time, because of the business, that's the dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Since I was not in that situation, I was in the reverse, and then we broke up. So I was always the dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's tough.
It's a hard road. And if it's two comics and the dude gets to go on the road, it means she doesn't get to do any stand-up. She doesn't get to do as many shows.
Yep.
She has to spend primary caregiver.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of sitter money. That shit is like, how many nights have I spent $50 to do a set that I didn't get paid for?
Right.
I can't even tell you.
Right. I had to take a lift here. And God knows the sheer enormity of
you
money.
have a flat tire, which is much like having a child.
It's almost exactly like having it. You guys, I called AAA. You should just call AAA. They'll take your kid over to a tire store.
Well, somebody like Kira McDonough, Kira Sotanovich.
Oh, there you go.
Wait, who's Kira? Oh my God, that's a swimmer I used to know. Never mind.
That's nice.
Kira Sotanovich. Her husband
kids.
isn't a comic though.
Yeah,
right.
He's a movie dude.
Yeah,
he does production stuff.
He has a regular job.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like there's she can take the lead there.
Oh right, she's like, I have to do stand up.
Like she's always working. She's always on the road. Yeah. I don't know how I got off onto this topic, but it's.
Oh, we got an hour to go. Do whatever you need to do there.
It's tricky. It's hard to. If you're no one in society really wants a woman to have a career, and for you to insist upon it after, it's going to cost you money and stuff. It's tough.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like the risk assessment of how it's going to affect everybody.
If you're an insurance salesman, or you're like, no, your career can't happen. Your career doesn't make any financial sense. It doesn't
make any financial sense. We're a unit.
Yes.
Whatever you want to do doesn't make sense. It makes more sense for you
stay
to
home, he was on the road.
for a living. Yes.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I hate you. And then
shovel sand.
Exactly.
Why do you go to the grimmest possible examples?
Well,
right off the bat, you don't even. There's no gradation. There's like you go right to the bottom.
I was telling you last episode, I'm watching the Star Trek Discovery show, and the Star Trek is so dark. The Star Trek, it's essentially, it takes place before the Captain Kirk, before the very first Star Trek that there was. And it was back when we had space travel, but people were monsters. And the great thing about Star Trek is that in Star Trek, the humans always take the high road. Yeah. That's the lesson that we learn from Star Trek. The Star Trek I'm watching, Star Trek Discovery, they do not. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. What's happening? And it isn't like Firefly or Serenity, where it's about good people in a bad universe. This is about mediocre people in a bad universe. And you're like, that is a fascinating story. And I think the storytelling is amazing.
That actually sounds good.
It is really good. It's really well done, and it's gorgeous.
And it's on CBS?
And it's on CBS,
Shocked.
but only CBS.com. And
it's not on it's not being broadcast
at all.
Whoa!
Yeah, you have to give them $6 a month.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so, but the point of it is that I love the show, but I genuinely would love a Star Trek or a science fiction thing where people take the high road. I need hope. And Ursula Le Guin was a great one for that, by the way.
Oh, cool.
By the way, her books are great.
You haven't read an Ursula Le Guin book. If I could fucking finish this book I'm reading, it's taking forever. I can't. Like, I read 3 pages and then I fall asleep. And I'm like, it's got to pick up. And everyone keeps saying it's a great novel. And
Is it a novel of Irish angst?
No, it's called Never Let Me Go. It's by the guy who wrote Remains of the Day. And
Okay.
what I can tell, 'cause he drops these little, like, you're like, oh my God, this paragraph, it's so long and boring. And then all of a sudden, he'll drop a little bit of knowledge where you're like, whoa, wait, you're clones? Wait, I've been reading this book for 80 pages and you never fucking mentioned that the characters are clones.
Oh my God, that's fascinating.
So it's one of those things where, like, well, what else am I going to stumble on,
Where you
if I
can't-
just keep reading it?
Right. It's going to be great, but you got to keep
But
reading
it's a
it.
slow march.
Right.
And then if I've had enough melatonin at night,
Right. Sleepy time.
I have
Sleepy
3
time.
pages and I'm out. So I'd love to read some Ursula. But William Shatner
Yeah.
possibly murdered one of his wives. You know that,
Oh, the
right?
swimming pool thing.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's, well,
Well, yeah, I think if we've learned anything in the last 6 months is that men don't do things like that.
no. Men are constantly choosing the high road. Speaking of the high road.
I watched a little bit of Two Dope Queens.
Oh,
It just
right.
came out, the first episode.
Yeah, it was this last Saturday.
Oh, it's shot so beautifully. I was like,
Notaro.
I
Take
want to be
Notaro.
on that show.
Yeah.
I didn't tag them on my complimentary tweets. I didn't want to look like I was begging, but man.
yeah, you should definitely be on that show.
Yeah,
And
look.
The thing about Jessica Williams and Phoebe Robinson is that they're great comics separately. Mm-hmm. They had this show in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
where that I did twice,
Yeah.
and completely. But I don't know what to do about my social skills, quite honestly. I should bring Andy because it's good to have a pick, someone to work around. But so I show up at the Two Dope Queens premiere because they had it here.
Oh.
At New House. It's over
NoHo
by
House? Nueva House?
yeah, something
Okay.
like that, and it's on Sunset.
Okay.
It's over by the Sugarfish over there. Whatever.
Oh. Is it past
east.
is it past the Comedy Store?
East Hollywood. It's way east.
Oh, it's
kind
not.
of by
Okay.
Gower.
Oh, okay.
And so it's by a restaurant called Paley, which has new American food. I looked them up because it was such a beautiful restaurant. Mm-hmm. They have like popcorn, ice cream, and you're just like, stop trying.
Oh my God.
You're breaking my heart here. Just serving nice
Yeah.
food. You don't have to make it ridiculous. They have tater tots on the. You're just like, $11 tater tots are dumb. Anyway, so but the Two Dope Queens premiere, I was standing in line, to get in, and I'd forgotten about it. And I'd gone off to do the drunk show, right? The Drunkalog show. And so all I had and I was wearing my stage hoodie, I wasn't dressed for a premiere is what I'm saying.
Right.
And so I was like, well, I'll stop by just to say congrats and thanks for having me on the show, right?
Yeah.
Because my episode is it's every Saturday. There's 3 or 4 shows, I think.
How
There's
many
4.
do they shoot this season? Just 4?
Well, I think they shot 4, but I was there for 3. I saw
3 of them being shot. Yeah. Okay.
And the 2 of them, by the way, are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Individually, and then together
They riff
have,
really well off each other. They're like Sonny and Cher.
they like each other so clearly.
Yeah.
And they're just there was ball busting. Essentially, they were friends going in.
Yeah.
We're learning it. You and I are learning it. So
I think, we've also been on stage as a solo act for so long.
yeah,
That,
this is hard. This
Yes.
was hard to.
yes.
I will interrupt you. And
But they do have like what was the bit? Who should apologize to us or who owes us an apology? So they have like some like desk pieces in a way,
Yes.
although they're not at a desk.
Yep.
So they have some things they can, some refillables they
Yep.
can do every week, which is, good.
Yes.
They must have some writers helping them out too. I'm sure they're not doing it all themselves. And then, it was a really, really beautiful show.
it was so great.
Yeah, and the crowd was bananas. And Michelle Buteau just murdered.
she's a murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had a personality like that. She just has
It's
like
too bad you don't have a personality.
I don't.
What is happening?
She has like that glowing fucking thing that people have that they just are sort of, they're wild and confident and big and they take up
Right.
a lot of space in a room.
Yeah.
Like, Michelle is there before you were aware that she's there. And me, I could hide in the corner for 6 days and die there and no one would notice. But I envy that sort of. I mean, I
That big
I can't
personality
even
on
fake
stage.
it. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that is something I can't pull off at all for a second. That's just not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what I did was I stood in line with the audience, with essentially the guest list.
Yeah.
And then Rhea Butcher, who's on one of the episodes, and
Yeah.
Cameron Esposito showed up. And they're both tricked out in these awesome suits.
Yeah. I saw a
And-
little snippet of Rhea. She looked like she had a great suit on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at the premiere. And so I was like, and Cameron was saying to Rhea, well, how do we get in? And Rhea goes, we have to go over there to the red carpet, the black carpet. There was a thing to, and I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to hang out with them. And so I rode their trail of, so the only thing I had in my
So you look like their lesbian mother.
Yes, I did. And I was wearing, the only thing I had that had any sparkle was I had my chicken hat. Remember my chicken hat that
No.
has rhinestones? Anyway, it's nice.
No, maybe.
There you go. Anyway,
Okay.
so it's so I wore that, and it was, and then I said congrats and thanks to those two, and then
Yeah.
then there was a party, and the party was, I am not good at parties. They're loud.
Yes.
And when I was 22, I didn't like a loud party.
Yeah.
And now I'm 52 and I don't. And so I lasted 10 minutes. And then but I did get to say thanks and congrats, which was, I think for me was the point of it.
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yes.
So I walk out and one of the guys working the door, he goes, why are you leaving? You just got here. And I was like, yeah, I got some popcorn, and because they had free popcorn, 2 Dope Queens popcorn.
What kind of popcorn?
It was just popcorn.
Was
popcorn.
it Garrett's from Chicago? That's
I don't.
the kind we have at Conan with,
Yeah,
in those barrels.
Oh, in those. Though you love
cheese.
those.
Oh
you
my
love those
god!
popcorn.
That's the only reason I say hi to comics. I'm like, yeah, good luck. Where's your popcorn? Let me
Yeah.
have a kernel or two, please.
Yeah, I took that. The first time I did Conan, I left the popcorn there.
I'm as
But the second
angry
time-
at that as the 14,000 you
I
forked
lost
over on your DUIs.
for my DUIs. Yeah. Well,
Oh, Monique, are you
Monique?
into that scandal at all? Or not scandal,
No.
whatever. She
was bummed because she didn't get paid as much as the gentleman, but neither
Well-
did Maria. By the way, I checked in with her.
Oh, well, Monique was said she was offered $500,000.
Right.
And did Maria tell you she was offered more or less?
No, she told me when she got it.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what Maria got for her special.
Oh.
So I don't know. I mean, I think that those gentlemen have more powerful.
I mean, I do think, it's kind of
Yeah. So when
$20 million is an absurd amount of money for comedy specials.
Right. And who was that? Was that Jimmy Miller saying, "We're going to need $20 million"?
Well,
and then kicking back?
yeah. The other thing, it's like this man, like Amy Schumer's manager is Madonna's manager.
Right.
That person is
It's a
going to
whole-
extract
Yes.
every
It's you two
bone
and
marrow
Madonna's
from you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Like,
true.
it's It's
So part of
it's like
that, but it's also like Netflix doesn't release their ratings, so no one knows who actually
is worth
who was a
what.
good investment.
Yes.
Right. So Monique, like I don't know of her as a comic, really. Like I don't.
yeah. No,
I
I've
don't
never
know
seen
that-
her long
but,
set.
No,
I've seen
she's
short
got
set.
a ton of fans.
She's got
But she has a fucking Oscar. I mean, does that count for? To me, that's
to stand up wise. I don't think it
does
counts.
no.
Not in my head, but I mean,
If you're the average person and you're like, wait, that's Oscar winner Monique. You're scrolling through stand-up specials. Oh yeah, I mean that's like
that's
being
true.
verified on Twitter. Your Oscar. It's like that's a mark of distinction. Maybe I'll watch that one. And isn't that what
That's
Netflix
true.
would want from?
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
You know what? Yeah, I think I take it back. I think that because people will recognize her from a TV show, from a movie,
Yeah.
and the Oscars, and then stop and watch. So that has value.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I guess it's it's such a hard thing to prove. But I mean
You can't prove without the numbers, and the numbers are not available.
I
Right?
know.
And
Wanda Sykes came out and said Netflix offered me $250,000, so she went to Epix, and I think they doubled it or something.
okay. Yeah, and I know that when remember when what's I forgot the name of the people that were for the rest of us. We're brokering those deals.
Comedy Dynamics?
No, it wasn't Comedy Dynamics. It was somebody. It was another company that I'm spacing the name of.
New Wave?
New Wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. They sent me a contract like
Right.
3 years ago when Horcrux came out as a DVD because I filmed it.
Yeah.
And like every contract I receive, I scan it first for dollar signs.
Right.
That is the first thing that I do.
Right.
And I recommend everyone do that. And because then you will know if you want to read more closely. And guess what? I did not. Because there were no dollar signs. None.
Wow.
No back end money, no initial money, no nothing.
So you didn't get any of your money back on taping it?
Right. It cost $18,000 to tape to film it. 4-camera HD. Beautiful.
God.
Horcrux DVD available, streaming on Comedy Film Nerds, you guys, or you can buy the DVD with the DVD extra of me choking the first night on my
Only
website.
comics want to watch that.
JackieCation.com. Yeah, get the DVD, you guys. I have 100 in my garage, and, so
And she needs to turn it into a gaming center. So
exactly, please. So I scanned it. And I think I told this story 100 episodes ago, which is when that show was available. And it was just, I called my manager at the time, and I was like, well, this is an insult. There's no money. It's and they own it for 10 years.
Wow.
They get to cut it up into any chunks they want and sell it to Verizon or Delta or whoever they want.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I get no say as to where they end the jokes or where they start the next jokes, which would drive you up a banana tree.
Plus, you don't get money for it.
And no
you
money.
could be on a flight watching yourself on television on the back of someone else's chair, someone's seat, and not get any money for that.
Not a dime. Until after 10 years, and then it was after initial costs were covered. And
that's that thing where all of a sudden they come up with these horrendous costs that are never covered.
Yeah, I was told that was something they did for somebody who did sell it to them. They sold them an old special.
Yeah.
And they sent him an old special, and they're like, so 3 years into it, he still hasn't seen any money.
Oh.
And because they just kept making up.
It's Jeffrey
bills.
Ross, guys.
It's Jeff Ross, you guys. No, Jeff Ross is a 20 million guy. He's got a YouTube's manager. No, I don't know, so I called my manager and I said, "This is an insult," and she said, "It's just the first offer. Don't sweat it." And I said, "Okay, well, here's my first counter offer. Please, bags of cash." Left on a scavenger hunt around Los Angeles. And now that we've both said ridiculous things, tell them I need and this is what I wanted. 3 years. They could do whatever they want with it. Mm-hmm. Then it comes back to me. And like $10,000. Even I would have taken half. I would have taken $9,000.
Right.
Half of what I spent,
right.
which was $18,000. And they said no. And so I said no. And then I have a DVD in my garage. You guys, knock yourselves out. JackieCation.com.
I hate this business.
Well, the business part of it is so ridiculous. And so, I mean, I think you're right about Monique, though, is that she's an Oscar winner. The Oscar will stop people with their clicking.
Right. I mean, she might not be a groundbreaking comedian, but that's none of our business. And the average person doesn't know. They just go, I like stand-up comedy. Who's next?
Right. And the thing is about groundbreaking comedians, whenever I see somebody that they're like, the guy's a genius, she's a genius, you're like, not all the time.
Yeah, it's true.
I saw
It's
Reggie
true.
Watts the other night at the Lady Parts Justice thing, and he was very funny, but I didn't get what he was doing. That's on me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have seen Reggie Watts murder, de-fucking-stroy. And just some of the sweetest, weirdest, out there premises and jokes. And the other night, he was doing an English accent, and I didn't know it. And I was like, well, you're showing some range. Good on you. And good job, mate. And but that was...
That's Australia.
No, they say mate. They say mate over there in England.
Okay.
AnnieLaurie16@gmail.com. Please let her in on that. But anyway, so people are geniuses, and people say Dave Chappelle's a genius, and you're like, yeah. And then sometimes he's just a comic
Yeah.
People say Bill Cosby's a genius, and then sometimes he's just a really good comic. And then other times he's doing stand-up again. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That he got a set?
He went to a jazz club.
He went to a jazz club and then told stories.
I know, but somebody...
But what is he but a storyteller?
Yeah, but somebody wrote this article, or the headline was, audience, there's an audience for a Bill Cosby show. And I read it and I'm like, no, it was a jazz audience and he jumped up on stage.
Right.
I would stare. I would be like, what the fuck's happening? I would watch that.
Right. He did like 15, 20 minutes. And then
I wouldn't buy merch from him afterwards.
Right. And they were friendly enough to him, I guess. They didn't boo him off stage. But that might be an indictment against Peep Jazz.
Those are jazz fans, man.
Right. That's
they might
not comedy
be
fans.
conscious.
Right. It's they're willing to sit through trumpet solos. Are you kidding me? Johnny Pemberton is like, no. You know, Johnny Pemberton's a huge jazz fan.
Oh, he didn't know that.
Yeah, he did a Dork Forest about
Oh,
jazz
cool.
that I didn't understand.
I like a jazz station. I like jazz.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not.
I like
huge
big
fan.
band and I like marching bands. So I
my
like a horn
God.
section, but I don't like jazz.
You know who sold a show to, and the show's coming out to Adult Swim is Jenna Friedman. Do you know Jenna?
Oh. Yes.
She's a New York mostly comic,
yeah.
but she's out here soon. I think
Yeah.
she's doing Conan pretty soon. In fact, it probably will have aired by the time this is out. But she had a special on CISO called American Cunt.
Okay.
And which you think it's hard to promote Dead People Suck, folks. American Cunt's a tough one.
That's a tough sale.
Shitty Mom was even tough to promote.
Right, because of the cussing.
Yeah. And but she's super funny. And she went through the whole development process with Adult Swim. Development process is just like the back and forth you go with, with whoever you're making the show for. And it never, whatever you have, with your initial idea, I'm not talking about Jenna anymore. Your just initial idea and versus what it turns out to be are so different. It's unbelievable. And sometimes I think, I don't know if I could go through that process of, could you take this character out? Could you make this character this way? Could this one
You're
not
like,
be
no,
so nice?
no.
Yeah.
No, it's mine.
We're so lucky as
Mine,
stand-ups
mine.
that we just get to do exactly what we want on stage, know?
Yeah. So it's on Adult Swim because Rebecca Sugar, I think, is the only woman who's ever showrun, produced, created a show for Cartoon Network. So I don't know if there's a lot of women over at, and when I say a lot, I mean 3, over at Adult Swim. But that's neat that she's got something because for some reason animation is another like boys club.
It's a boys club, and also a lot of it's not guild, so they're not even getting health insurance and stuff.
Right. There's the pay is ridiculous. So.
Which is crazy because I watched 2 shows with my son, Gumball and Clarence, and they are so fucking funny.
Yeah.
So many jokes. So many jokes only parents get, and some of them only kids get. They're great, and I
Incredibly well written,
hope these
diverse.
people are but
Earning a
there's-
living.
There's women on the written by section and stuff like that.
That's
But,
cool.
I mean, listed as writers, but I hope they're getting full insurance and pension and stuff.
No.
They're writing as many jokes as sitcom writers are writing.
Yeah, they should totally. Yeah. It's. Do you know Frangela?
Yes.
Francis and
Yes, yeah, Angela. Yeah.
And, yeah, they.
That's even though I knew that, it would have been a great guess.
It was a great guess, and they are a duo, and they are hilarious.
Yeah.
And they were at the Lady Parts Justice thing, and
Yeah.
they were both wearing obviously a T-shirt. I don't know if they sell it. It said, "Trump stole my country," and country is CUNTRY, or Trump is messing with my country or something. It was something. It was amazing. And I kind of wanted one, but they weren't selling them. I'm sure I could go to frangela.com. They might have a garage full of them. You guys.
Maybe.
Yeah.
How much time has this one done?
We're at 40.
Whoa.
Huh?
I'm
We're-
losing the ability to put words together. So.
Well, let's do Comic of the Week.
Yes.
Amy Silverberg.
Yes.
Amy Silverberg, at Amy Silverberg. I did her backyard. She does it with Lynn.
Yeah.
She does a backyard show. I did it. It was a delight.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it last episode, with Daniel.
Is it up on a hill?
Yeah.
I've done that one.
The parking is ridiculous.
Yes.
Yes.
That's an awesome one.
I took a lift. It was awesome. It was so great. And it was packed.
Yeah.
It was packed with people.
Yeah,
there were
yeah,
going to be
yeah.
30 people in that backyard standing and sitting in folding chairs. And I did 12. and it was super fun. But Amy Silverberg went up, and her stuff is so personal and interesting and smart. And they seem, both of them, her and Lynn, seem both very new. But follow at Amy Silverberg and check her out, because it's the good new generation of comics, man.
I know, it's exciting.
Everybody's good.
And they we've said this before, but they seem to have skipped 5 years of being awkward and
Oh, right. Well, that's easy enough to explain, though.
Part of it too, when we were coming up, the people that we had to model ourselves off of were guys, really. So we were supposed to be like guys, but then we're not guys. So that takes a couple years to kind of figure out
to navigate
yourself.
how to
and
be.
I think this generation sees a bunch of female comics, so it's like, oh, I can be like any of these. You always have to pick a few people to be like for a couple of years, and then you start to figure out your own self, right?
Yeah.
So if you can pick someone of your own gender, you save yourself 5 fucking years of development.
Right, you get to just be a woman comic.
Yes.
You just get to be a comic who is a woman from the get-go.
Yes.
You don't have to be a comic and then your only role models are dudes.
Right.
And then figure out that you're not a dude.
Yeah. I'm like, how do I hit on the waitress now? Because I'm a girl. Yeah.
And I don't want to. Anyway, so I'm good. But what happens next? Yeah, that's so funny. That is true. I'm doing Uncab. We were going to do these back to back, and then
No, we
right
weren't.
after. No, we were going to do them with something in the middle, like a dead spot in the middle.
Here's what we're gonna do. This dumb day we had planned, which I didn't realize till
Thank
I was
God
like,
you
wait a minute.
reinvented the wheel.
We were gonna do a podcast at 1:30 and then come back at 6:30, and the 5 hours in between or the 4 hours in between, we just who knows?
I didn't know what we were going to do.
I didn't know either. So I'm like, is everyone around at 12:30? Can we just do 2 in a row?
Yeah. And we were around,
Thank
you guys.
God. Why didn't we see that last week? What are you thinking?
Because I think we were both tired because it was a nighttime one.
Oh, you're right.
And this one, we're all awake. You guys, when
I'm
we start
tired.
at noon. Yeah, you're tired because you've been up since the dawn
I know
of
it's
man.
April now, but I still just flew in from my Seattle gig. It's on February 4th.
Right. It's I'm in Mexico while this is going up, or on the ocean going to Mexico.
And we're going to Moon Tower.
Oh yeah. You and I are both doing Moon Tower, so we're going to do a live Jackie and Laurie.
Yes.
In Austin, Texas.
And then the next day, I'm going to stick around on Sunday afternoon or evening or whatever, 5 p.m. and do a reading at Book People.
Oh, Book
Yes.
People's awesome. I love Book People. That's a great bookstore in Austin.
Yes.
Yes. Feel free to send me a gift card.
That's April 22nd, 23rd, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. So this is going up, I think, still in February, though, right? Yeah, we're still in February. So, but yeah, we're going to do a live one. Did we want to do a live one at Flappers?
Yeah, we should.
We should do
organize
another
that.
live one. Yeah, live ones are fun.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
Look, listen to that positive endorsement, ringing endorsement. Register to vote for the midterms, you guys, and come to Fresno if you want to register there. I just saw my note to myself from the last episode. I'm psyched about that. I really want to talk to Maria about how we would
you
do
guys
such
got
a
to
thing.
do that. You got to do that.
That can't hurt.
I bet she has some fans that didn't vote last time. You know,
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I think the first time I registered to vote was at a Billy Bragg concert.
Really?
Hi. Yeah. Jackie and her musical taste being revealed very, very slowly.
My Lyft driver.
Yeah.
That when I went to take yoga in Renton, because I was staying near the airport, so there wasn't yoga near the airport. He taught himself Turkish in 2 months, and I was like,
How?
He's probably brilliant, but
Well, there's
he already
that, but-
he already spoke 4 languages. He's from
there you go.
Afghanistan.
Okay, so it was probably a comparable.
No, I don't think Turkish and
Turkish,
what do they speak in
Armenian.
Afghanistan?
Pushed.
Pushkin, and they speak Pushkin, the poet.
Exactly.
But I don't think they're like Spanish and Italian or something.
No, but I don't think it's in its own. I think it's in a group. Armenian is not. Armenian is in its own language group.
Yeah, believe me, I see some fucking Armenian signs.
Good times.
No, but I want to learn German because I want to take my kid to Germany this summer.
Yeah.
In the hopes that he will love it and consider it for college.
Okay.
You know? So I want to be able to learn. I want to learn German. And if this guy learned Turkish in 2 months, couldn't I learn passable German in like 4 months?
If you could just give yourself more tasks, that'd be important. Have you ever gotten one of those Pimsleur things? Or
No,
I got one for Italian.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. I couldn't do it. No, I got a Rosetta Stone. That's what I got.
Okay.
The Rosetta Stone DVD, CDs
Yeah.
for Italian.
Yeah.
And I needed to learn, like when I took French, I needed a person.
Yeah.
I wasn't good with the audio.
Well, there's a thing where you can just talk to people in whatever language you're trying to learn with, like Skype with them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of that's a thing. Yeah.
It's weird though because I was watching. There's this series on Netflix called Dirty Money, and I just started watching it, and it's all about current capitalist massacres on humanity, and one of them's about the Volkswagen scandal, and so I'm just kind of getting into it. And there's a German guy talking, and I'm like, I can't tell those words. Like, I don't speak German yet, but same thing with like Spanish. When I hear Spanish, I can kind of understand it because
Did you take Spanish ever?
I took Spanish, but also the way the words are enunciated sound familiar to me. French, it sounds like people are talking in the middle of their throat, so I can't tell consonants apart when people are
it all
speaking in
blurs
French.
together?
Yes. And German, I don't know. It just slides together so quickly. It seems like it's hard to pick out words.
Well, I think that's with any language that you haven't done any study into, because the French.
I did 20 minutes on Duolingo in German, so I think I know what I'm talking about.
All right.
I'm drinking a Wasser. Eine Wasser in my left hand.
You're going to get beamed with Eine Wasser if you don't zip it. Then what happened? I'm doing Uncapped tonight, and I don't know what I'm doing. After
That's a good feeling. Well, you have time to write it out, right?
Right, I have time to come up with something. I can meander around.
No, but here's my point about Germany. Also, maybe there's gigs in Germany.
There are gigs in Germany.
Do they speak English? Are they English speaking?
Of course. Yeah.
I want to do a gig in Germany.
Yeah, you got to write that off. So you got to go, but talk to Tom Rhodes. He does things all over Europe.
Yeah, he does.
And
maybe I'll see if my agent can get me something.
Yeah. See if your agent can get you something. That always sounds so weird. And yet it isn't. Because people don't have agents.
I do have a booking agent.
Yes.
Now she makes almost $0 off of me.
Well,
I don't know why she's keeping me around, but
because she knows that one day you're going to break loose. And she's going to be like, I had Laurie Kilmartin back in the day, and now I could have you. She introduced me to this great gig outside of Phoenix. And I'm doing Arizona 3 times in a month and a half. So people...
wait,
feel
a club
free.
on your own and then a couple with Maria, or what?
No, I'm doing a Bird Fest in Phoenix.
Of course.
Called
What?
the Bird Fest. It's
What's
called,
that?
I don't know. Phoenix is a bird.
It's a comedy festival.
It's a comedy festival
Okay.
called the Bird Comedy Festival.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm doing a club in Glendale, Arizona.
Okay.
And I'm doing, which is outside of Phoenix.
Whose club is it?
A guy named Tommy. We talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, the Tommy
Is this
guy.
in Glendale?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it
should
was
totally.
in Scottsdale.
Yeah. Also, you should call the guy from Governors because he wants you.
Yeah.
And that's a thing.
Okay.
You're in town on Friday and Saturday in New York.
Yeah, but I often don't know until
Oh, too soon?
a month ahead of time. That's
right,
why I
right.
just
Turnovers.
get gigs.
Yeah, but
I
if
just
you-
get spots at clubs because they only book a month in advance. The clubs that book spots in the city versus Governors is probably booked out 4 or 6 months in advance, right?
Maybe 3, but if you warn him...
Yeah, but I don't have warning.
No. If you warn him that you're that you might only give him a month in notice, then when you give him the notice, he won't be mad at it. He'll just go, "Oh, this guy's local. Maybe I can swap him."
Oh, so I
So
can
that-
fuck over a local guy.
Right. Fuck over a
Bring
local guy,
it on.
so that someone can come up to you and say, "Why are you so smart?" Anyway, you seem to be putting things away, which makes me think that we're close.
I'm
51.
so optimistic.
51. I thought you would be putting things away at 57.
I like to plan ahead.
I'm
That's
devastated.
unfortunate. I'm slightly devastated. What else is happening?
Oh,
you got?
so here's what I did during my day of nothing that I had to do. I love not having to write a book or reread a chapter or
Right.
tweak a chapter.
Or
I fucking
anything.
love it.
You love being done with that book.
Oh God.
No greater feeling.
So I took it took 2 chunks I'm working on, and I wrote each sentence out, like I typed each sentence out, and then I gave space in between each one just
Yeah.
to see. Sometimes when you see it and there's space between the words, you can kind of go. You just see them words differently and how maybe they're tying up or how they're not. It's weird because I did some old material and then this new chunk, and the old material is very joke, and this one is a little. It's less joke, you know,
Because it's also new.
it's new, and I'm trying. Still haven't figured out when I say my son like put a finger gun to his temple. The recoil from the audience is. I still have to manage that.
Right, because they're overreacting.
Of course, they're overreacting.
Yeah.
So, I'm.
You know that his
I'm gonna
finger isn't
practice-
loaded. Are you
Yes.
familiar with the fact that
Yes.
his finger is an unloaded gun?
Yes.
And there's a safety on it, and it's called no bullets in his finger.
You're stepping on closely to something I actually don't.
Well,
Stop riffing off my joke.
take any of it and move with it. And you can have any of that or all of it. And
No, but so I'm just trying to tinker with maybe I'll just physically say he did this without
yeah.
saying
Oh, what it was. Yeah.
saying he pretended to or whatever. I don't know.
That actually, I like that better, just because then you don't have to. Because the word gun can tighten them up.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I remember that I do that gun control bit,
Yeah.
and whenever I say, I know why people want to carry guns around, they always go, well, and then I'm like, no, you know too, fuckwits.
Yeah.
We all know why people, and then I tell the punchline, which is not that great of a punchline, but then I have another joke after it that fixes
You
that
don't have
one.
to justify yourself.
Oh, I do at all times. And
But this reminds me of the intensive labor of trying to fix that
Oh.
that Spanish joke,
Yeah.
which took a year.
right, but what a great joke. Worth every moment, I say.
I wouldn't say it's worth every moment, but it's. But
that's the way it's got to go sometimes.
But you know what? Like I was looking at my old a notebook from last year, and I'm like, my set list is very similar. Like I don't have a ton of new stuff. I have like, oh, this joke that I told last year. Oh, it's better now. Like there's a bunch of jokes I was doing that are better now, but it's not like I've got like this new 20-minute chunk or something.
Yeah.
In terms of returning to a club.
Yeah.
That's why I like to do crowd work, because if I can avoid doing stuff I know I've done for a couple years at a club, I would love to avoid that,
Right.
And weave
Do
it
you
all
ever
in.
do you ever come out of crowd work with new bits?
No, I sort of
Yeah.
weave them into bits. Like I have bits that have that can open with a question that can lead to stuff, and then when I'm done talking to the person, I go to the joke. I do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a lot. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's interesting. You reminded me that there's a bit that I cut from the Hero album, and it's 6 minutes. I mean, it needs to be tightened up anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it isn't on the Hero bit. But it reminded me when I was taping the Hero album, it reminded me too much of Donald, because 2 people came up to me and said,
Oh, Donald.
Trump,
Oh, okay.
and said, "Oh, your dad's kind of like Trump." And I'm like, "Did you want to get punched in the throat?" I love my dad, and he's a piece of work, but I still like him, and I don't like Donald Trump at all. He's gross. So I'm taking a stand, you guys. Look at me. But
I'm too tired to fight back.
I don't get tired now. Oh man, Frangela. Those guys had the greatest line, and then it led into punchlines. But like when you're watching someone else's stand up or whatever, whenever you're watching something, and the point of the joke makes you're like, oh, and then you forget what the punchline was because the point was so amazing.
Yeah.
That they did this joke that I can't remember the punchline of, because the point was about how white people are tired. And
This white lady's tired.
well, you're tired because of travel, and you're also politically tired.
How much time?
We're at 56.
Oh my God.
So
I don't have 4 more minutes.
Well, then shut up. Because I pulled out my notebook on purpose.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, come on. And because I've got this. What I thought was I fixed my empathy bit, and all I did.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Oh, I fucking hate that.
Yeah. It's just longer and not.
and less funnier.
But I haven't had a chance to try it more than once.
Right.
And so maybe I fixed it, maybe I didn't. And I just have to, I mean, the thing is all of my new chunks are all 3 minutes long. And so to work on them, I need long sets.
Yeah.
Where I can tell something, and then I need to listen to the words, and then I have to make sure the order is right. You know, so with those longer bits, you get caught up in the order that the things have to be said in. And so if I say them in the wrong order, then I haven't. Then, because one of the things that makes it fixed is if I'm doing it in the correct order.
Correct.
And I reordered the empathy bit so that I end on sort of a callback to kind of a callback to an old joke of mine, but not a joke that I'm doing, so not strictly a callback.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not a callback if you're not doing the joke. Unless it's a callback just for you to enjoy.
Just for me inside my head. It was a callback. It was a reference. It was essentially, it could be, it's, you know, you ever write a joke that just could be added to a previous bit you used to do?
Yes.
That's what it was.
Oh.
That's what the empathy bit has a part of it that could be added to a previous joke I did. Mm-hmm. But I'm not doing that joke anymore. So I don't want to do that joke anymore.
What if we only have a finite amount of jokes in us, and then we just keep rewriting the same jokes over and over again? And if you look
Thanks
at
for listening, guys. And
you look at our body, you look at a body of work, you're just like, that sounds like something she wrote 10 years ago. And it's like you keep rewriting versions of, what if that's what we are?
That's what we I don't think you're wrong, because it comes.
Musicians are like that.
Well, it's because there's a certain beat to it that we all do, right? You do the same kind of jokes. Yeah, it's one of the things that irritated me probably 10 years ago. Still holding on to it. Some guy came up to me here in Los Angeles, California, and said, "Are you still writing jokes about? You still doing jokes about your dad?"
Oh my God.
And I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, because yes, is the answer.
Well, and then you go, well, okay, if I'm just rewriting what I've already written, you know, maybe not. I don't even mean like the jokes would look similar on paper, but it's the same person writing. You know, like should I keep doing comedy? Like, is there an argument to go, hey, maybe I could keep writing jokes, but if I'm just repeating what I started when I was 22, you know, is this an artistic cycle, or am I just now addicted and used to living a certain way? I
think if you write about the same topics and you make it new and interesting, like every news story about my dad reveals the same thing about him,
right,
and a different thing about him,
yeah,
and the same thing about me and a different thing about me. So that's where the comedy lies.
Yeah.
There's the familiarity of my dad, me telling some story. And then there's also the new story that no one's heard about the one thing that he did.
Yeah.
Then there's my reaction in the moment and my reaction now. That follows is a
template.
growth.
Yeah.
There's growth there.
Right,
there's
right.
a template, but I think that there's growth there.
Yeah.
And I will say this is I saw Tim Allen do stand-up comedy, and he's still fucking talking about tools.
Oh my God.
And they are not
fucking hire TaskRabbit, you asshole. You're a billionaire.
And they're not great tool jokes. Let's leave it on that, you guys.
Now leaving Nerdist.com.